There's no time like the present to tell you the story about how I ruined my life. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't met me, I'm Gabby. It's back to school season, the time when half of you are going, oh my god, I hate school. And then the other half of you are like, I love school, but I hate myself. Today I'm going to be telling you a really interesting story about how I completely ruined my life. So sit back, grab some Cheetos, grab some chicken fries, like me, and let's get into it. If you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel, and if you haven't checked out the video that I posted on Friday where I announced the giveaway winners from the mini art giveaway that I did last week, yo, check it out. You might have won. Like, I haven't gotten any emails yet. I'm just saying, I might have to give it to someone else, and I don't want to do that yet. So if you're reading the title of this video, you will know that this video is about how I lost a full scholarship that I got to go to art school. I graduated from Art Center College of Design with a BFA in illustration, and when I was 18 years old, I got a full scholarship to travel from Miami, where I was growing up, to California so that I could study illustration with money from the grace of the people. In order to understand what happened, I need to take you back to the day I was born. No, I'm kidding. But I need to take you back a ways so that we can all understand exactly what happened and why it did happen. Let's travel back in time to literally 3rd grade. I grew up with the subconscious belief that I always needed to be perfect. So we can see exactly how far I've drifted off that path. I'm not exactly sure what age this belief was instilled in me, but to give you an idea of how bad it got, when I was 8 years old in 3rd grade, I got my first B in math, and I cried so unbelievably much that my teacher and my friends had to pull me out of the class and go, Gabby, it's just a B. You're gonna be okay. Everything's fine. And I was going, no, it's not. And I kept on crying. And it's weird because I had never been hit. I had never been grounded. I had basically never gotten in trouble because I was such a good kid. But for whatever reason, the fact that I had gotten a B meant the world was caving in and crashing and burning around me. I thought that my life was over. When I showed the report card to my parents, they didn't hit me, they didn't ground me, they were disappointed. But that was it. As the school years progressed and things got harder, I couldn't handle the fact that I wasn't perfect. It's really easy to seem cute and perfect when you're little before puberty hits. But once puberty does hit, you can't fool anyone anymore. My face was figuring it out growing up, okay? It was figuring itself out. The thought of failure, the thought of seeming stupid, the thought of not being perfect was paralyzing. And so I stopped trying in subjects that I knew I wasn't good at. Math and science, I just wouldn't try. Sculpture, I wouldn't try. Graphic design, wouldn't try. Why? Because I figured subconsciously that if I just didn't try, then I wouldn't be the girl who was stupid. I wouldn't be the girl who wasn't talented. I would be the girl that people would look at and would go, no, she could be really good at that. She just doesn't try. And that was apparently way better to me than failing. In high school, I became a chronic underachiever. And I feel like when something almost ruins your life, you can say the word chronic in front of it. I became a chronic underachiever and I became a chronic procrastinator. I hung out with the smart kids, but I didn't get grades like the smart kids. My parents were basically relying on me to get an art scholarship because I wasn't going to get a scholarship in anything else. My grades took a significant dive in high school because my self-worth was literally lower than the floor. And there were a lot of instances where I just realized that I wasn't enough in any sense. The only place where I felt like I could be good enough at something and sort of regain my self-worth was in my art. When I thought of art, I thought, here's something that I can be good at. Here's something where I can be perfect. Here's something that will get some love and attention and make me enough. Flash forward a little bit to my senior year of high school. I'm pretty much only investing myself in drawing and painting the figure, basically. I'm totally skipping my sculpture classes because I can't deal with the fact that I'm not good at sculpture. I'm not trying in my graphic design class because I can't deal with that either. And my teachers are noticing that I am not doing well in these classes. They're not trying to help me. They're not asking me why, but They're noticing, and they're mad at me for it. However, despite it all, I managed to get a full tuition scholarship to one of the best art and design schools in the country. You would think that by getting that scholarship, I would somehow raise my own self-worth and be like, yes, I do deserve to survive and have a good life, right? No. My parents always said that, that I wouldn't really be able to go to college unless I got a full scholarship because they were public school teachers, It's not like they were going to be able to pay for me, and they didn't want me to get $100,000 in debt with private loans. So I needed a full ride. When I got it, I moved from Miami all the way to California. The process of losing my full scholarship started my very first semester. In my first semester, we had a Design 1 class. I not only had the easiest Design 1 class, I had the easiest teacher. I also had a perspective class that was the easiest perspective class with the easiest teacher. Since it was just a little bit more left-brained, if you want to call it that, I just didn't want to deal with it because I thought that I wouldn't be good at it. I still could not deal with the idea of people seeing me fail. So for both of those classes, I didn't do anything. And again, these teachers didn't ask why. Nobody checked in. But okay, at the end of the semester, I turned in half of my assignments for Design 1 in a big, half-assed, not very good, I'm sorry that I didn't do anything pile of guilt. And I did the same for perspective. I wound up getting a C in perspective, but my Design 1 teacher, she looked at my work and she looked at me, and then she said, I don't want you to have to retake this class. So instead of giving me an F and failing me, she gave me a D-. I get A's and B's in the rest of my classes, but then there is a C and a D-, and that brings my average below a 2.0. In order to keep my scholarship, I needed a 3.0 or higher. That put me on academic probation. So I went to the dean of my school and I said, what would I need to do in order to bring my average up and maintain my scholarship? And I also asked him, should I retake Design 1? And he said, well, we usually don't advise people to retake a class unless they fail it. So I would just advise you to keep your grades up, and you have 2 semesters to get a 3.0 if you want to maintain your scholarship. All right, I don't have to retake Design 1. Let's do this. I've got 2 semesters. Let's go. Semesters 2 and 3. Meaning the end of my first year and the beginning of my second year. I'm working really hard in all of my classes, and I managed to get A's and B's. And at the end of the 3rd semester, when this is supposed to be when I get my 3.0, I noticed that my average isn't high enough. And it's because that D- is really weighing me down. So I go back to the dean and I ask, yo, this D- is really weighing me down. I really think I should retake the class. You know what? I think it really would be good for you to take it, because if you retake it, maybe that grade will cancel out the grade you got before. So at this point, I was feeling a little bit frustrated because the advice that I received was a little bit ill-advised. I should have retaken the class immediately, but I didn't because I thought that I didn't have to. Again, my fault for even getting the D- in the first place, I get it. I asked for a grace period that term to see if I could raise my average by retaking the class. He said yes, and at this point I am in term 4. Basically my second year. So I'm a second year student retaking a first year class. I'm retaking it with a different teacher, and I'm trying, I'm trying as much as my little heart will take. I'm still not good at it, and it's like visible that I'm not good at it. I wound up getting a B- in the class. Flash forward to the end of the semester when I get my transcript, and I see that my average is a 2.98. Why? That's not right. This can't be right. And it was. And the reason why is because the grades didn't cancel each other out, because I didn't fail the class. I got a D-. So the B- wasn't going to replace the other grade. The only way that you can replace a grade is if you fail the class. And I didn't fail it, not technically. So all they did was average each other out, and that wasn't enough. At this point, I'm heartbroken, and I'm so scared. So I'm running all over the school. I'm running to the dean of enrollment, I'm running to the dean of admissions, and I'm just telling everybody my story, getting recommendation letters from teachers that I actually did do well in. And I even went to student government to ask for advice, And honestly, the reaction that I got from most of the students who I told my story to was pretty warranted. Nobody was giving me any pity. The adults were, but none of the students, because a lot of the students didn't get the privilege of getting a full ride scholarship, so who's gonna have pity over the girl that was stupid enough to lose it? At the end of all this, I go to the Office of Financial Aid. I tell them my story, and I just say, please, my grade average is 2.98. I've been doing so much better, and I know that I made a mistake, but this semester I know it's gonna get better because it's only 0.2 points away, please. And I'm crying and I'm begging, and the lady in front of me just says, I'm sorry, we can't. We can't. So I sit there, defeated, and I say, okay. Tears are streaming down my face. I've done all I can. I have fought as much as I could possibly fight, and I lost. So I sit down in a hallway, open up my laptop, and just start researching community colleges in the area. I call my parents, I tell them, I'm sorry, I lost it, and I can't keep it together. I ruined everything. A school actually believed in me enough to give me the key to education, and I threw it away because I hated myself. Then I get a call from the financial aid office, and I pick up the phone, and the lady says, we are going to give you one more chance, and if you don't bring up your grade point average, you will not be able to keep your scholarship. And so I'm crying and I'm going, oh my God, thank you so much. You won't regret it. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you. She's like, yeah, whatever, stupid bitch. And luckily, of course, I was able to get my grade point average up by the end of the 5th term. For God's sake, in this point, I'm 2.5 years into my school relationship. So the story ends with me being able to keep my scholarship. I managed to stay in school because of it, and I graduated with the scholarship intact. I wasted a semester feeling like I wasn't good enough and feeling sorry for myself, and my entire life was almost ruined because of it. I wanted to tell this story because a lot of people experience the same feelings that I experienced growing up in school. You experience the feelings of not being good enough, hating yourself, depression, anxiety, feeling like, it wouldn't really matter if you weren't here. Those feelings are so not worth it. Your temporary self-loathing is not worth an entire future's worth of potential. When that experience was over in college, I was really working hard to make sure that I didn't have to go through that again. I allowed myself to get an internship. I allowed myself to become a vice president of a service club. With some help from a roommate, I even managed to get an executive position in student government, and I was even a finalist for a student leadership award because I utilized the experience that I had of starting from the bottom. Now I'm here. One of my goals in life is to take as many classes in as many art schools as I possibly can, because now that I'm a person, now that I am a person who realizes her own worth for the most part, I don't allow negative thoughts about myself to interfere with what could be if I actually allowed myself to invest in my own life. I think self-worth is something that you have to work at every single day, and my procrastination and my chronic underachievement is always something that I'm constantly working through. My life changed drastically when I realized that I deserved to love myself. The only thing that I will say about this entire story, I realized that it's pretty much all my fault. As most of you know, I'm a YouTuber, but I'm mostly a teacher in order to make my living. As an art teacher, whenever I see a student not doing their best, not doing the work, acting up, I always intervene. I always say something and ask the student what the hell is going on, and I always try to get to know them. And I figure, that they're not doing it because they're just demon children. They're doing it for a reason. Nobody actually asked me why I wasn't doing well. My parents didn't. My teachers didn't. I think most of my friends actually just laughed, and I get why. I think I was just portraying myself as a little bit stronger than I felt. It's just interesting that nobody asked. I would love to do a video about advice for underachievers or even advice for teachers on how to deal with underachievers, because I was perceived as just lazy and rebellious and unappreciative, when in reality, what I was completely paralyzed. There's just so much to talk about, and I just don't know where to begin. So you let me know what you took from this story. Let me know if you'd like any other videos on this type of topic or the topic of school. This is the second video in my Back to School series, and I'm so happy to be sharing this story with you. I hope that you got something out of it. Let me know if you like this video in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't, like I already said. I'm gonna go eat my chicken fries, and I hope that you have a lovely day. I love you. I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye!